A few days ago, I put up a poll asking you guys what video you'd like to see me make while I also work on my latest hunt video. And a new episode of Weird Products won by a landslide. Then I asked you guys what you would like to see it be an episode on, and nearly every comment said Cruz. Now, I completely get it. I did Lightning several times. I've done episodes on all of the Radiator Springs townies. I did an episode on Francesco, I did an episode on Jackson Storm. Of course, it's only appropriate that I do an episode on Cruz. But I was kind of hesitant, because last year I planned an episode on Cruz. I believe I even spoke about this in my 3,000 subscriber special where I talked about my canceled videos. I planned an episode on Cruz, but I just couldn't find enough weird products on her. Luckily though, I was able to go back, check again, and find enough to make this episode. Anyway guys, welcome back to yet another video and to another episode of Weird Products. Today, we're going to be going over some weird Cruz Ramirez products. It's definitely about time. In the past, we've seen beds for Lightning McQueen and Jackson Storm in this style, so of course, Cruz has her own bed as well. Now the thing with Cruz products is that a lot of them are ones that were also made for Lightning or Jackson or both. That was one of the reasons why it was a bit difficult for me to come up with products for this episode when I tried to make it last year. Cruz just has a lot of very similar products, but I don't really mind. Just because they're made for a different character doesn't mean they're not still weird. And yeah, this bed is definitely interesting. It's as weird looking as the Lightning and Jackson beds, but there's an additional bit of weirdness for me, because if you look at the side, you'll notice that this is based off of the Rusty's Cruz paint job for some reason. I don't think there was a Dynaco Cruz bed, I couldn't find one. I have no idea why they chose to make a Rusty's Cruz bed. Nearly every other piece of merchandise you'll see in this video is based off of Dynaco Cruz, so to just have this bed be for Rusty's Cruz, which is such a temporary paint job compared to Dynaco Cruz, which is what she uses from Cars 3 and presumably everything afterwards. It's kinda odd. And just like with the bed, Cruz has yet another common Cars product, the Ride-On toy. And as per usual, the adaptation of Cruz onto this toy is definitely interesting. I mean, it looks okay. It's got the Cruz designs, but man, that Dynaco dinosaur has definitely put on some weight since the last time I saw it. And why is the 51 on her seat? Actually, I just realized why. The 51 is on the seat because the 51 is also on her roof normally. And so, since this is the top of the car, they're having the seat represent the roof, I guess, but why does it matter that you put the 51 on the seat when you're just going to be sitting on it and you're not going to see it? I mean, it's a nice touch, but like it's going to be covered up like the entire time you use this. As per usual though, it's just a weird looking ride-on toy. I'd say it definitely looks better than some other ones that I've seen in the past, but just like usual, yeah, definitely a bit of a stretch to get the character's design onto this toy. So many products on Weird Products fail because they do a bad job at adapting the character's face onto the design of whatever the piece of merchandise is supposed to be. This is a really rare exception, as this rideable toy, I actually used to have something very similar to this when I was younger, but that's beyond the point. Anyway, this right here doesn't try to make the vehicle be Cruz. It doesn't try to fit her face or all of her usual design details onto it. And I think that's a good thing because, quite frankly, there's not a place to put them on an item like this. But instead of just trying to fit Cruz's face and all that onto this, they went with their own design. Instead of trying to make the vehicle be Cruz, they just took a bunch of important parts of Cruz's design and made a vehicle that sort of represents Cruz. It's got the 51s, it's got the Dynaco logos, the yellow color scheme with the nice blue wheels, and honestly, I quite like this. And I think that more Cars products should try to do something like this. Instead of just trying and failing to be the Cars character, maybe sometimes you should just do something that represents them instead of just straight up trying to replicate them. Hey, you know how you have to be really careful while moving puzzles or else will completely fall apart? Well, what if we threw all that out the window? Introducing the Puzzle Racers! It takes 19 vaguely puzzle-like pieces to put this Cruz together, turning it into a 3D puzzle car. A 3D puzzle car where a bunch of the different pieces jut out at really bad places, such as in between her eyes or in her mouth. It really just does not look all that good, but whatever. The most interesting part about this is the pull back and race feature. It seems that this puzzle has a pullback engine inside. So basically, I think you have the base of the car with a pullback motor in it, and then you build the 3D puzzle car on top of it. It's a pretty interesting concept. I believe I've spoken about this before in the Jackson Storm episode. I believe he had one as well. But yeah, I mean, these definitely could look better if only the puzzle pieces weren't sticking out all over the place. I guess they would have to do that, or else it wouldn't be as stable, like a more normal puzzle where it would pretty easily fall apart. Even 3D puzzles can fall apart pretty easily. So I'd assume, that's why these pieces are sticking out, because they're all interlocking and all that. But, yeah, definitely interesting. And don't even get me started on the color scheme, because, I don't know, something I feel is a bit off with that shade of yellow. It almost looks orange to me. So, yeah, puzzle racers, definitely pretty interesting. I wonder if they're my size, though. After 2 years of weird products, we finally found an item where I have no idea what it is. This is a Cruz Ramirez metal die? What is this? For the first time in weird products, I don't have a clue at all as to what I'm looking at is. I believe I found it being sold by some craft store online. I'm not sure of the specifics of it. I think it might be some sort of stencil of some kind. Of course, when I hear metal die, I think dice, like rolling dice in a game, but I mean, that's clearly not what this is. I think it might just be some sort of stencil. Kind of reminds me of a cookie cutter. But yeah, I don't know what a metal die is unless it's a threat against heavy metal music, like metal die, or a threat against Metal Sonic, like metal die. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop with the puns. I have no idea what this is. If you know, please let me know in the comments. If I have any metal die enthusiasts out there, please let me know what this is, and I'm sorry if I offended you with my very bad puns. Another staple item of the Weird Products series are weird plushes. But with Cars 3 being so recent, I've got to say most of the Cruz plushes look pretty good, and they do a pretty good job at looking like her, like for example this one. Unfortunately though, some of the keychains of Cruz aren't as lucky. Take this one for example, which just looks cheaply made, just looking at it. It also doesn't even look like Cruz, and it looks like it's been stepped on. This keychain shows us what happens when you put very little definition between the windshield and the hood of the car. It looks so weird. It's almost pill-shaped, but it's very flat. I don't even know how to describe it. Unfortunately though, it seems that the next keychain has the opposite problem. The hood on this keychain is entirely too huge and just entirely too round. It's absolutely massive compared to the rest of the car. The area where the eyes are is way too small compared to it. Like I said, it's basically the exact opposite of what we just looked at. When I first saw this very, very interesting item, I thought, oh, it's a bouncy ball. It's one of those bouncy balls that they put a plush covering around. I've seen these before. Oh, how wrong I was. It's not a bouncy ball. It's actually a pillow. A very, very large pillow. I don't know whose idea it was to turn a car into a round object. I don't know whose idea it was to make said round object so huge. All I know is that this is certainly a weird product, and another case of very, very poorly adapting a car's character into a different type of item. She doesn't even have her Dynaco logo, and honestly, that's probably for the best because that would look very odd. And finally, to end the episode, we have a very iconic item. One that appears in nearly every episode of Weird Products. We went from one pillow to yet another. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Cruz Ramirez Pillow Pet. There it is, in all of its glory, the Cruz Pillow Pet. We've seen so many different pillow pets in weird products. We've seen one for so many different characters, and I've got to say, in all honesty, the Cruz one doesn't look all that bad compared to some of the other ones. I mean, when it's in its pillow form, it still looks very odd, but compared to some of the other ones, I actually think this one looks pretty decent. Like I said before, a lot of Cruz's products being more recent gives her the upper hand in my opinion, as a lot of them don't really look all that bad compared to some other things we've seen in this series. Of course, though, there are definitely still some that look very, very strange. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching yet another episode of Weird Products. This is not the end of the series. Just because I've covered, like, most of the main characters does not mean Weird Products is going to end. There will always be more Weird Products, and I hope to do another episode pretty soon. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.